what I want you to understand in this here is, let's just say with this particular graph team, is that on the bottom left here, this is where you are now. Cool. This is where you are now. If we scroll across to the very bottom right, that's 3 to 5 years. So when we're looking at this graph here, I want you to look at it from a timeline perspective as 3 to 5 years. Now, again, whether you're nailing it now, whether you're not nailing it, doesn't matter. For the sake of this particular exercise example, we're in the bottom left. Now, as we always know, is that moving across to the right, we've got choices to make. And it's always coming back to, like up the top there, in that first, when we're talking about moving the pendulum, whether we're talking about getting out, moving out of that foundational period, getting out of the foundation, getting some good footing, we're always going to be hit with the things, what's the focus, what's urgent, what's important. Now, to make changes, generally, we're going to have to let go of stuff. Okay, we're going to let go of potentially different clients. We've got to let go of different habits. We may need to let go of different team members, different suppliers, different job management systems. There's a number of different things that we may need to, and when I say we, you guys may need to make some changes now, right? And what that means is, team, is that then you're going to be challenged with what's urgent and what's important. And this is where I get the bullshit excuses a lot of time, where people say, "Oh, Jonesy, I'm busy. Oh, Jonesy, I'm busy." I say, "Well, what are you busy on?" "Oh, I'm busy on all these things that, think that they're urgent," right? And generally, what's urgent is already in the past. We've spoken about this before. Generally, what's urgent has already happened. You can't control that. You can't change that. What we're going to work on, this is where our success habits, is about what's important. Generally, what's important is the future. Agree? Okay. So we're talking about positioning ourselves over in the top right here, over in the top right. And that's where we want to be in 3 to 5 years. That opportunity presents. We've got a very clear line of sight of that A-class client. We've got a very clear line of sight of those opportunities that present. We've got a very clear line of sight, potentially, of a potential buyer, okay, of the business. We've got a good, clear line of sight of team members, suppliers, whatever that may be, strategic alliances, okay, 3 to 5 years. But it all comes back to what happens in the next, I'm just going to say, what you do in the next 6 months, the next 12 months is paramount to what happens in the next 3 years. You will never get to that position of opportunity unless you start working in the grind now, making changes. Hey, yeah, but I'm doing okay now. I'm sweet. That's not good enough, because what got you to today is not going to get you where you need to go to tomorrow. Cool. If you rest on your laurels in this market, you are going to get swallowed up, right? You need to keep moving. Everyone in this community, we're about progressiveness. We're about moving forward. We need to move forward. We need to be challenged. So on the back of that, on the back of this, as we know, as we move through the next 6 months, 12 months, we may not see great progress, right? And this is where we come into the period of that latent potential where it's about the belief, okay, and very clearly stay focused, have confidence in yourself, have confidence in the process, have confidence in your key team members, right? So this is where, again, with those people, and again, I'll just come back to, let's bring up our old favorite here, the old latent potential. Right? We talk about effort's not wasted. So when we talk about the latent potential here, in this potential time zone on the timeline on the bottom, timeline on the bottom, let's look at that as a over a 3 to 5 year period. Now, we've just got to work through, when we make change, when we pivot, when we're trying to reposition, we all know the valley of disappointment, right? Everyone's been there. Some are in there right now in the middle of the valley of disappointment. That's cool. Generally, with the valley of disappointment, there's 3 things that happen with the valley of disappointment, right? You're either in it, you've just left it, or you're about to fucking go back into it. Cool. That's what's going to happen, right? There's three. So what I need you to understand is, as a business owner, get used to the value of disappointment, because you're in it, get ready, you're leaving, or you're about to get into it again, right? So, because that's what we need to be now. What I need everyone to be really here is, two key words. We've got to be resilient. We need to be resilient, and we need to be patient, right? Patience and resilience through here. Believe in the process. Use the support of the community. Success leaves clues. All the other things that you've heard me talk about. But what I'm trying to frame it for everyone now is, if we want to be positioned in that 3 years, that 5 years, because from our point of view, we want everyone to be really ready to take off and really get remunerated. Great for your great work, your intelligent work, is that we've got to be ready for that latent potential. We've got to be ready to be persistent. And as we talk about, stay there. It's not wasted effort. It's not wasted effort. It's stored, wait for it to break through the line. Then all of a sudden, bang. Oh, shit, Marcus. Oh, shit, Ricky. Shit, Brett, Paul, Lee. You guys, geez, you're lucky. All of a sudden, hey, you got lucky. You know what I mean? Where'd you come from? It takes 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to be an overnight success. We all know that's all BS. It just comes back to doing the little things really well, day in, day out, staying persistent. Okay. So from our perspective of where we're going to be positioned really well for that 3 to 5 years, we've got to get used to latent potential. We've got to understand the valley of disappointment. It's part of what we are. It's part of change, right? And then coming back to it, because when we get through that valley of disappointment, we know we start to get that uplift, the confidence builds, the authority builds, our brand, and then we are ready. We're seeing things, okay, far and above those people, your competitors. They're in despair, right? They're still on the ground. They can't see what you're seeing. You're at a different level. You're at a totally different operating rhythm, different frequency, as we call it. We're calm, composed, and then we're ready to go again. That's how we beat the market. That's how we stay ahead. That's how we stay relevant, by that constant evolution within, how we process things and how we adapt to change around us.